Hi, my name is Sandy Lowe from Zoho, and this is another episode of Bird's Eye View. So today I am with Jon Reed,
Hello, how are you?
an analyst, journalist. He's got many, many titles.
Wear many hats.
Yes, many, many hats. So actually, we're going to talk about the AR, Analyst Relations profession today. So as we know, AI has impacted professions of all types, people of all ages. So if we're looking at analyst relations, the AR profession, how do you think it's going to evolve the research firms? And similarly, in terms of AR professionals, how should we evolve? How should we use AI? What is the value of AR in the future?
Well, I think we're kind of still figuring that out. With AI in any profession, there's kind of a set of like pros and cons. And one thing I caution people about is thinking that, oh, in 6 months it'll be amazing, but now it's kind of like a little flawed. Like it's going to continue to be both powerful and flawed. And it's important for us to think about that in terms of how we use the tools. I mean, I think in some ways when you start using the tools, light bulbs go off and you start seeing how you can connect the dots in different ways. I think one of the most exciting things for research professionals is figuring out how to draw more stuff from more sources together. The market's moving so fast, and sometimes AI can be really good at like pulling a bunch of stuff from different places and giving you kind of a flavor for everything that's happening, which can be kind of hard to do manually. So I really like that. Also, the big research houses are feeling the pain a little bit, and
Absolutely.
and I think part of that is just because I think we always need to reinvent, and I think some firms just weren't reinventing for a long time. But what I will push on is that I think there's always going to be a craving for original thinking. And so what I find refreshing sometimes about AI is that it can be ruthless about forcing you away from your comfort zone. And I think like for me, I've been always trying to push myself to be more original and different, and now AI motivates me that much more so, because the one thing AI doesn't know is what Jon Reed is thinking right now and where I'm going next. And so I think that's really huge, but who uses this stuff the best, I don't know. I mean, for AR pros like yourself, it's really interesting, like because I think you're kind of an interesting little subgroup, and it's not like AR firms have hundreds and hundreds of people, so you don't have the economies of scale around it. But I do think it's really important to use these tools to figure out what can we do with them. I mean, obviously you can do a bunch of stuff with brand sentiment analysis, for example, and potentially you could be getting all kinds of real-time updates on things that are happening with Zoho in the markets. Some of that might be relevant to you. I think it's really going to be an interesting balance between getting a better short-term thing, but also taking the longer view sometimes and not allowing AI to turn us into panic mode over stuff that's happening. Because sometimes it's just too much drama all the time. So I don't know. I think everyone's going to have to just experiment and not feel like, oh, we have to do it this way, but like, how can we do it? Like in Zoho, what I'll be really interested to find out is how can you do it in a Zoho way? How can I do AR with AI in a Zoho type of way? And you know what I'm talking about. That's not a typical way.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to find your own way, I think.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll have the answer to that. Okay, so bonus question.
Okay.
The role of events in AR as AI becomes much more prevalent. And this is, by the way, the man who's written the events playbook for the analyst relations profession.
Well, that's really interesting. Look, I mean, you know what my bias is. I mean, I feel like events are really about human relationships and fostering community, and ultimately through community, we also extend that to customers and serve customers better. And so that's what I really care about. So I think a lot of firms are making a lot of mistakes with trying to impart information at events where information flow is continuous. That's the AI lesson, is that you can always get more information. What's scarce is authentic human relationships. That's what we crave and what we're missing. And I think of relationships as a container that holds knowledge, tools, everything. Like, the better I know you, the more we can help each other and learn from each other. And so, like I just went to your analyst program, and what was really interesting was you trying to strike that balance between all the interesting stuff your teams were doing and all the cool things they had to say, but then also the really valuable feedback and the relationships that are built through that feedback. And It's a tricky balance for everyone, but in my mind, that's what it's for. Now, exactly how AI extends that, I'm not totally sure, but it may have to do with figuring out what people's preferences are and getting them information all the time that matches up with those preferences. But I don't know. That's a longer conversation than we can have in this 90-degree room.
Yes, I know. Well, thanks for the good advice. So maybe the next edition of the events playbook is going to address.
I got to think about the AI part. Yeah, I do.
Yes, I know. All right. Well, thank you for talking with us, Jon.
Sure.